Hi, and welcome to the Conversation Project. My name is Cecile Ahrens, and I am a therapist in San Diego, California. Today, what I wanted to talk about is self-esteem and social media. And the reason I want to talk about this is because I think this is a real problem in today's digital world, and also because I see many of my clients really struggle with this issue. So I just want to talk about how to give you guys some quick tips on how to address some of the bad feelings that you might get about yourself when you see a post or an image on one of the social networking sites. So oftentimes what I hear from people is, they saw a post or they saw a story or a picture, and because of that particular trigger, so to speak, they end up having a lot of negative self-talk and negative thoughts about themselves, creating insecurities and unpleasant feelings, and sometimes even unhealthy behaviors. There's a chain reaction that can happen just based on an image or a post. So first of all, I want to let you know this is very, very common, unfortunately. And secondly, that there are things you can do to mitigate that and to take care of yourself. So some of the things I tell folks or suggest to folks to do is kind of on the practical end of things, is to reduce the exposure that you have on on social networking sites. You could do that by unfollowing certain people or blocking them, or I'm sure there are other kind of technical techniques that you guys can do as well to just minimize or reduce the exposure to those triggering posts. So I'm a little low tech, so I can't really give you guys the in-depth technical advice on how to do that, but the idea is to reduce the exposure. Before you can also do that, you also want to just think about, what are some of my triggers? What are some of the things that actually create negative feelings in me or make me feel bad about myself? Are there themes around that? Is it around body image? Is it around people being married, or is it around people who have kids? And so it just start to have more of an awareness of what those triggers are, and make a mental note of it, because if it's persistent enough, then you might need to talk to a therapist about some of those things. So you just kind of notice at first, are there patterns here, right? And what are some of the things that really upset me? And then see if you can reduce the exposure. And then also, sometimes you might want to take a break from the whole thing. Do what's called digital detox, where you take a break for 2 days or 3 days, sometimes a week, sometimes 2 weeks. And I challenge some of my clients to do that if I really feel like it would be helpful, because what the absence and the break does is it can, it can give you a sense of yourself back and regain a sense of reality, really. Because a lot of the times when people are posting things, although that may be, a true part of their life, it also may not be. And you have to understand that when people are posting stuff on social media, they're also pretty much curating and editing and just picking and choosing the parts of their lives that they want you to see, or an image of themselves that they may have created for the digital world, but in real life, their life might not really resemble much of that at all. So, you have to kind of have some discernment, but it's hard to do that when you're feeling bad about yourself. So, that's why taking a break or reducing your exposure can be really good strategies to combat that. But eventually, what I've found for people who have chronic insecurities and are constantly being triggered by it is to have someone to talk to about it, someone you trust, someone who can kind of challenge some of the stories or assumptions you're making, and then ultimately talking to a therapist about it, I think could be really helpful, because like I said, you know, there might be other issues that are really affecting the way you're perceiving certain things. So that's pretty much it. That's all I wanted to really focus on, is to just normalize that, you know, feeling insecure or bad about yourself when you see certain posts is unfortunately common, and that there are things you can do to take care of yourself, and that it's really important to focus on the things you have control over when there's so many things that we're constantly being, you know, bombarded with, images, information, that you're not really as helpless as you think. There's a lot of things you can do to control the information that's coming your way. And then if you find yourself really internalizing some of these messages and feeling bad about yourself, then it might be time to talk to a therapist about it, and, you know, find ways to really raise your self-esteem and figure out how to, you know, feel good about yourself in an authentic way. And sometimes that means healing from past wounds. So hopefully this was a helpful post. Take care of yourself, take care of your health, and take charge of the information that's being given to you by being more discerning and by reducing your exposure to such material, and sometimes taking a break from it is the healthiest thing to do. All right, so thank you, and I will see you guys again next time.